Thank you for joining me for the launch of the Coach Like Leader. It's today. I believe that everyone deserves to have a job that they at least like. Now, it'd be great if they could love their job, but surely as a minimum, everyone needs to have a job they at least like, don't they? Wouldn't you think so too? And yet, Gallup tell us, whoops, that's gone too far. Gallup tell us that apparently, according to their research, 67%, that's 2/3 of people in Australia and in New Zealand are disengaged. They're calling them quiet quitters. They're rocking up at work, they're in their seats, they're occupying the space, but they'd rather be somewhere else. Now, it's actually worse than that. Those are just the slightly disengaged. There's an additional 13%, 13%, that are actively disengaged. They're hostile. They're trying to make things even worse. My goodness, that's a lot of people that really just want to be somewhere else. Why? Why is it that so many people really just aren't satisfied at work? There've got to be a lot of contributing factors, haven't there? There's got to be an awful lot. But Gallup say that there's one factor that's responsible for 70% of people's engagement levels. One factor is disproportionately responsible. And that one factor is the manager. It's the person they report into. It turns out that the relationship we have, the quality of the relationship that we have with the people we report into, has a massive impact on our well-being and our engagement. And perhaps all of you cast your mind back to a time when you haven't had such a good relationship with your manager, and maybe you've dreaded coming to work and you've tried to avoid them. It just saps your will to work, doesn't it, when that's not good? So managers it'd be unfair if we were to blame the managers. I'm blaming organizations that don't give managers the tools that they need to do a great job. It's often assumed in organizations that if someone has been made a manager, then somehow up to that point, they've just absorbed the communication skills that are necessary to get the best out of others and to develop rapport and build engagement. It's assumed they've just absorbed these. Perhaps they've watched a few LinkedIn videos, they've read a couple of articles, they should have sorted it out themselves. Well, no, these solution-focused conversational skills, coaching skills, you don't just absorb them by chance. We need to be learning them. Organizations need to equip their leaders, team leaders, people at all levels of the organization. They need to be equipped with the tools to do a good job. It's unfair on leaders and, as we can see, on those they lead to deny them the tools. I believe that coaching skills forms part of the solution to helping leaders to get the best out of others, to help to develop that rapport and really cultivate engagement in people who aren't currently engaged, but also in those who are engaged. Coaching helps get the best and really release the potential out of people who are also engaged. Everyone really in the workplace should be able to have a solution-focused conversation. Now, I've been delivering coaching training for 6 or 7 years, and I used to deliver somebody else's content. I worked for the Australian government and I delivered their coaching program. The upside of that was that they gave me a lot of freedom to deliver the program the way I wanted. I could use the behavioral science that I've learned from 2 master's degrees to make it even more impactful. I could use my lived experience of being a leader for 20 years in an international corporate setting. I could enhance it. At the end of the day, that program has been the most popular workshop I've ever given. And people just love learning these skills because, as you know, we've got a lot of coaches on the line today. You'll know these coaching skills, they're not just about workplaces. These are really useful skills to have just when we're talking to friends and family and to people. So in my book, What I wanted to do, I should take a step back. I mentioned that the government let me change the content. They let me shape it, deliver it my way. But there was one thing they wouldn't let me change. And that, I couldn't touch this, it was the workbook. They had 100-page Word document, A4 pages, page after page of, frankly, monotonous text. Nobody read it, of course. I swore to myself when I delivered my own training, I wanted to write something that was really accessible, was fun, engaging, maybe funny as well, and practical. The Coach-like Leader is that book. This is the companion guide to my training. It's an easy read. Look at all the white space. You've got to have a lot of white space in a book to make it something that people want to pick up. You've got to make it light-hearted. So that's what I've done here. What's in the book? Well, in the book, I provide and I describe the 3 conditions that have got to be in place before coaching conversations can possibly be effective. These are 3 critical prerequisites. I talk about 5 motivational boosters, 5 ways that leaders and really anyone in the workplace can help others to feel motivation when it's missing. And I also describe 7 situations at work where coaching could be a really good fit, where coaching could really help. Coaching isn't the be-all and end-all. We don't want to use this style of conversation all the time, but there are 7 times in particular where it's really useful. Now, there's a lot of other things in the book too. Of course, there's the skills, frameworks for the conversations, but there's one part I'm especially proud of. I've developed a model for active listening. It's a sequence of events that need to happen in the right order for active listening to be really effective. And I call this model alpaca. It's the alpaca model. Now, who could resist a face like that? Not me. You'll remember the alpaca model right after you've read about it. Okay, so as I say, if I'm really honest, I wasn't going to publish this book. This was going to be just the companion guide for people who attended my training. It wasn't supposed to be generally available, but I sent it off. I sent pre-release copies off to heads of learning and development, directors of HR, to ask them what they thought. Here's what they told me. It was a learning. They said, Eric, this is Jadette Cleary, who's at the award-winning High Pages. Did you see that in the news today? Bet one of the best places to work in 2023. Jadette said, look, this, Eric, it's the definitive guide for modern leaders seeking to master the art of effective leadership. My goodness. I got some feedback from AJ Manwaring. This is in the Australian government. She said, this, Eric, is an indispensable resource for anyone looking to develop high-performing staff through effective coach-like leadership. Here's just one more from Claire McCaffrey. She's the head of HR at Accenture Australia and New Zealand. She said, this is a refreshingly easy to read, funny and practical, but also deeply reflective on the importance of coaching skills for leaders in the 21st century. Too right, Claire. Coaching competencies, coaching capabilities are foundational. They're core competencies for leaders in the 21st century. Absolutely critical. So you might be thinking, oh, this sounds fairly interesting, but would it be of interest to a coach? This isn't a book about being a professional coach, but it is packed full of ideas about how we can have more effective coaching conversations. Now, I know there's a number of coaches here on the call today. One of the best-selling books on coaching of all time, if not the number one best-selling book you may know, is called The Coaching Habit. Coaches love it, but it's not written for coaches. It's written for leaders. I think if you're a coach who's interested in helping others have more solution-focused conversations, you'll find lots of nuggets, lots of ways that I've expressed ideas that may be familiar to you, but in a slightly different way. I think you're going to love this too. So, what you may be thinking, well, I'd like to get my hands on a copy of this. That wouldn't be so bad if I had my own copy. Well, you can have one. Now, we're going to have a draw, a lucky draw in a moment. Someone, providing you're online, providing you're on the call, you will get, if you're lucky, you'll get a copy of the book. But in the dreadful eventuality that you don't win a copy, if we consider the unthinkable for a moment and you're not a winner, then know that you can buy this online. From now on, if you want a single copy of the book, you can get a copy from places like Amazon. I see Amazon are asking for $46 for it. They set their own prices. You can get it from Amazon. It'll be on Booktopia shortly. So you can buy individual copies online. But just for today, and this really is just for today, I'm also selling individual copies to you. You've gone to the trouble of rocking up for me today. Thank you. I really appreciate you showing up today. And look, some people may be watching the recording. If you're watching the recording today, on Friday, the 3rd of November, this offer is available to you as well. But I'm willing to sell individual copies today at a price of $33. $33. If you'd like a copy, assuming you don't win the draw, then could you please do these three things? One, deposit $33 with Pay ID. Really simple. Hope you've got across Pay ID. Have a look. You'll sort it out. But we can deposit money now just by using things like an email address. There's my email address. Just use on your phone, send $33 to my email address. Then send me an email to the same address telling me where you'd like the book posted. I'll send you out a signed copy of the book with a tax invoice. And that price includes GST and the post and packing. So it's all in the one price. Okay, well, it's time for the draw. You've all been very patient. I see Chris, we've got a lot of interest there in the chat. I'll have a quick look at the chat. It's time to randomly, and look, this is random, okay, completely random. I am going to spin, you see the wheel? All your names are in there. I'm going to spin the wheel now, and let's see who wins. The wheel is spinning. It could be anyone. I don't know who it could be. And it looks like, oh, I think it's Joe. Is that right? Joe Carabin. Congratulations, Joe. You need to send me an email. Hopefully you're online now. Send me an email. And look, I'm going to spin it again, just so that you have another chance. Let's give you one more chance. I'll make a note. Joe has won one. Who else? Our next name. Oh, Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Oh, Joe, you are here. That's great. Elizabeth Allwyn, you win a copy too. An old friend. But it was random. Elizabeth, get in touch if you're online. And look, I'll tell you what, we'll spin it one more time, okay? This is the very, very last time. One more time. Who will it be? I'm not deciding. This is random. And the answer is, oh, Anton. Anton Pemmer. If you're online, send me an email. Where should I post it to? Excellent. Well, that is the random draw. Now, we've got to the end. There's only one more thing to do, and that is to launch this rocket. Thank you all for being here and joining me for the launch of the Coach Like Leader. Thank you, and bye-bye.